What is going on, everybody? Man, Mike is back with another video. Back here to talk about the iPhone 14 Pro. Yes, not the Max, the 6.1 inch size. The size I've been rocking since mid-June. Literally, right around June 15th is when I received this device, when I traded in my Galaxy S23 Ultra to now fully embrace and experience the iOS experience. And I have my full thoughts ready to go. You really find out about a device within the first couple weeks, but the next couple weeks really shows you whether or not you can live with it, and you really get a true nature of what you're going to be experiencing long term with that device. We already know Apple does a great job of software support, so that was never going to be an issue. It was simply, could I rock with the Apple ecosystem, that is iOS, in its full sincerity? And I'm ready to provide that answer for you guys. So if you guys haven't already, make sure you guys like the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so I upload my videos. So sit back, relax, see what's cracking. Also, although the colors are a little bit warped, because that's technically orange, not gold. Got the paper, the Lakers colors rocking in the background because LeBron will be winning the chip this 2024 season. Now, let's get into the video. And the first thing I want to talk about is the hardware. The one thing Apple does not get wrong, sometimes they might make questionable decisions, but they don't necessarily get wrong, is the hardware. And what are we starting with here? Well, the aesthetic, the look of the iPhone. They don't change it that often. We know the camera modules got bigger between the 13 series and now the 14 series, and that's because the cameras themselves were improved. And some don't think they improved that much. I would argue they did improve. Well, I would say that they have not gotten that much better with night sight or night photography. Samsung is the king of that. Even my wife, who loves trying to give Apple too much credit, even concedes to the fact that Samsung's night photography is better than the iPhones. But nonetheless, we got better cameras. The body looks very clean. The frame is very clean, albeit depending on what color you get, you will see a lot of fingerprint on your device along the aluminum frame. I have the space black version. I've been loving it. I like it. It's very sleek. It blends in very well. Although I like the black frames, I just wish they were matte, because I think it would have really solidified this phone. I almost got the silver / white, whatever you want to call it. My wife has the 14 Pro Max in that color, and I didn't want to get the smaller baby brother to it, so I decided to just get another color altogether. I almost got the gold, since my S23 Ultra was technically gold, but I just wanted a whole new complete experience. I haven't had a black phone in a while, so I thought I went with the color, and they did a good job deepening this space black color with the shiny Apple logo. Screen wise, beautiful. Of course, you guys may not get to see it that well because I have a filter on my camera. Of course, you'll see some B-roll of it. I change my aesthetic around often, so I might drop another what's on my iPhone, especially with the new iOS 17 features that I've been experimenting and testing with the public beta. Right now, currently, as of July 22nd, 2023, we're on iOS 17 beta 1. But the display is beautiful. They've gotten a real good grip on getting good displays, good OLED displays, something that we hope to see drop on the iPads here soon. But the phones have been very well, and I think that it's a true testament to Apple's vision for quality hardware, for a quality experience. The other thing that I've been impressed with are the speakers. The speakers on this phone have been phenomenal. I don't even have to use them that often. I barely even have to push them like around half volume, because in the lower register, they have enough oomph and bass and sound crispness to them that I appreciate from a device. I like the Galaxy S23 Ultra speakers as well. That's gonna be my frequent comparison, since that was my last phone I was using, and the Flip 4 for that matter. I was using both of those in tandem, and the Google Pixel 7 Pro. Hey, I'm a big Android guy, and the speakers are all consistent, including the iPhone 14 Pro. So definitely good job there from Apple. And of course, the front-facing cameras are solid, and you get really good quality out of them, and Face ID rocks. It would be nice if we still got Touch ID to come back, under display fingerprint sensor, to have both forms of security, biometric security that is, to be able to get into the phone. I think that would have been a great idea. Maybe it'll come in the future, Who knows? And that is the hardware as of right now. Last thing to speak on is the alert slider. I love the alert slider because it's so quick and to the point. I click it to put on do not disturb, cut my volume, click it back on when I need volume back. If it is true, the rumors are true that this button is turned into an action button, hopefully it will stick to being an alert slider to some degree. From the perspective of one click can be do not disturb / silence, and then click it back and restore sound to the device. I hope that it will be something in that realm and they don't necessarily separate the do not disturb from silencing the alerts. So now that we've covered hardware, what's the next thing to talk about? And that is the software. And before I downloaded iOS 17 beta, I definitely sat back, watched a ton of videos to really understand iOS 16, the nuances, and to find some things that I like. And I did that before I went gung-ho into the iOS 17 beta. And I will tell you, iOS 16 has been a joy to use on here. I really love just the smooth fluidity of ProMotion as well, that really encapsulates you in this iOS 16 experience, whether it's through iMessage, whether it's through your phone app, whether it's through FaceTime, because FaceTime is a beast, and all the little features with the stickers and the addition of stickers with iOS 17. It's really, really good. AirDrop, fire, it's a beast. Improved again with iOS 17. It's been a very fun experience learning something relatively new. I did have the iPhone XR back around 2018 and got to experience iOS back then. I thought it was good. iOS 14 actually kind of started piquing my interest again with in regards to the iPhone, but I just didn't want to pull the trigger yet until I saw something convincing, and that was iOS 17. And with name drop and being able to do the contact posters and be able to do live stickers and be able to, and the functionality to reply to direct messages, which I think came with iOS 16, and the more ease of use in doing that with iOS 17. Come on, man, like they really have you honed into the iMessage experience. Now, can I leave the iMessage experience? Yes, I can, because I have used Android for so long that going to Google Messages, which arguably has started to inherit or make use of similar features, I can see myself breaking from the iMessage experience. I'm not caught up in the blue bubble, green bubble thing. Not a big deal to me, but I definitely see the draw on iMessage and how they can keep you wanting more and wanting to stay here because of the consistency with group chats. And again, being able to do certain things like editing messages, and for that to influence the receiver, especially if they have an iPhone. If they don't have an iPhone, then of course that feature doesn't really work the way it needs to or is intended. So you definitely see that you need to have another iPhone to play in the mix in order to embrace these features. And I think that from a software experience, Apple is honing in on what specific features to add and or improve. And again, with iOS 17 having live voicemail coming back, bringing that legacy voicemail package back from the physical phone that used to be in our homes, bringing that to the iPhone brings that refreshing experience to being able to pick up a phone call if you really want to, or be able to pick up the phone call before it's too late. I like that. It's a light version of screen calling from Google. I think there is a difference there. Screen calling screens a call from the point of contact, whereas live voicemail is literally focused on just a voicemail. So I definitely like that aspect. And of course, if it can get more granular like screen call, then by all means, but I'm definitely happy with just having a live voicemail feature. And I've been enjoying the experience with iPhone. Now, before we get into the battery, if you guys haven't already, make sure you guys ignite the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so always my videos. So always sit back, relax, and see what's cracking. Because what is cracking is battery life on the small iPhone 14 Pro. I have been getting phenomenal battery life out of this, equivalent to my Galaxy S23 Ultra, and I'm using the phone the exact same way. I go to work from 8 to 5, I wake up at 7, it's on the charger till I wake up, and then I take it off the charger. I use a MagSafe stand, so it's floating, you know what I'm saying? I take it off the stand using standby via the iOS 17 beta, which again is a beast. I take it off the stand, then I have that bit really from 7 to 5 p.m. for sure it's not on the charger, because throughout that time period, listening to podcasts or YouTube on the way to work, about a 30-minute drive, and then basically interchanging between YouTube, Netflix, podcasts, other video streaming platforms for an 8-hour period, with using always on display, which is another underrated feature in my opinion of the iPhone 14 Pro series, because of the display and being able, well, I think it came to other devices as well, but for that matter, always on display is also very solid, and I use it to showcase my wallpaper in an undertone, and then I use tap to wake, so that way it brings it back to life. I don't use lift to wake because I think it's redundant from that perspective. I think you should do one or the other. And then, so I'm using always on display while interchanging my use of those other platforms all day with some light Twitter scrolling, some light threads scrolling, or threading, if you will. I coined it here first, if ain't nobody saying it. Who's threading? Me. And then a little bit of Instagram, you know what I'm saying? Some occasional Google searches, Safari searches. For an 8-hour period, when I hit 5 o'clock, I arguably, especially if I'm using darker based wallpapers like this beautiful one here, oh, you can't see it again, and really making use of dark mode really helps with battery life as well. I think I noticed like a 10 to 15% difference using dark mode and not using dark mode, because if I'm using it, I'm still coming home with arguably 30 to 35%, sometimes 25%. And if I'm not using dark mode and I'm allowing my light mode, dark mode to switch between each other, I'm noticing I'm leaving work with about 15 to 20%, give or take. So there's a big difference, big relatively difference in battery percentage. Either way, I'm leaving work with battery where I can still listen to podcasts or YouTube on the way home, and I still don't have to rush to a charger, because unlike my Galaxy S23 Ultra, which would just completely destroy itself between 1 and 5%, this phone will hang beyond 5%. I'm talking about all the way down to 2%. It will hang. I've been to 1% like 2 or 3 times. My phone has yet to die on me in the month and a half's use of having this device. That shows you how solid battery life is on an iPhone. And I love that, because they really conquered that aspect that people used to talk about a lot, used to criticize a lot, that Apple devices were not good for battery life. And with the Pro series here, with I think even starting with the 12 or 13 series, and definitely with the 14 series, in my humble opinion, battery life has been phenomenal on the smaller iPhone 14 Pro, and that's a true testament to Apple's Appleness, if you were, to really tie the hardware with the software to give you a phenomenal battery experience. And just for reference, since I've had it for like 5 or 6 weeks, let's go to the settings, let's go to battery life, and then let's go to battery health and charging. My battery capacity after 6 weeks is still 100%. And I don't know if I'll be able to show you that, if it will. I don't know if you can see. You probably can't, but it is at 100%, right? So that just shows you right there how solid battery life is on my iPhone 14 Pro. I charge it arguably once, maybe twice a day. And then if I charge it, as soon as I get home, or like somewhere around 7, 8, 9 o'clock p.m., and I charge it, I take out the charger, it's going right back on the stand. So the charge cycle doesn't count, since I'm still well above 85 to 90, 95% of battery life. Just pop it on my MagSafe charger, which charges I think around 7.5 watts. So it's not even getting like a full blast charge. It's essentially trickle charging overnight. Again, emphasizing good battery health from my iPhone. And I got the iPhone 14 Pro to see if I could rock with a small phone, A, and B, if I want to switch from the iPhone 14 Pro to the 15 series. And I think that arguably depends on what's going on with the 15 Pro / Ultra, because if it's not this year and it's next year, I will switch for the USB-C port. Hands down, I'm switching for the USB-C port. That's the one piece of hardware that we're lacking with the iPhone series, and finally we are getting that, and we're getting Thunderbolt 3 speeds rumored once USB-C hits the iPhone, and then we're all gonna pretty much be good in terms of charging or ubiquitous cord use, which is USB Type-C. So hopefully that will be this year. I'm gunning for potentially next year we'll see USB-C speeds, but a lot of rumors reporting to see USB-C with the iPhone 15 series across the board. It's just you'll be limited on speeds between the 15 series and the 15 Pro series. But as it stands now, the iPhone 14 Pro is a monster, and even with the cameras, lightly touched on it before, because again, I'm lightly touching on it now because I've kind of used them. I haven't really been using them as much, but I've enjoyed video use on this much. I won't say much better, but there is a noticeable difference in quality between the iPhone 14 Pro and the Samsung Galaxy S23 Ultra. Now, I say noticeable, but it's still not as noticeable because Samsung has truly uplifted their camera experience for photos, but primarily with video. Google, on the other hand, there's a considerable amount of difference between the Pixel 7 Pro's video quality and the iPhone 14 Pro's video quality. I am still kind of sort of working on a camera video that will kind of discuss the camera stuff later, but just know with the Pro series, including the iPads, I don't have one yet, but including the iPads, you get ProRes video quality and you get Pro RAW video quality for cameras. For photos. So you get so much data that you can play with Lightroom or Photoshop or what have you to utilize all that information that you're getting from these cameras now. And I think that's a very smart idea on Apple's part, and to not include Final Cut for the iPads. Maybe you can get it on the phone, I don't think so, but you still got DaVinci Resolve that's free, that's for the iPads, and then of course you got all your little other LumaFusion, which I use on Android now, and I've been liking it. Of course, it probably works better on, in the iOS ecosystem. But again, in terms of the camera quality, no complaints here. And I will have a video kind of looking at that, similar to what I did for my Samsung device, the Galaxy S23 Ultra, dropping a camera video test of that nature. So be on the lookout for that. But as it stands now, from an Android user's perspective, I've been enjoying the iPhone 14 Pro, and I am still here to stay. I won't be switching over. Once I get an iPad and once I get an Apple Watch, that will really let me know how it really feels to be ingrained into the system, initiated into the iOS ecosystem. So that's something I'm definitely looking forward to. My wife has an SE, has two of them. 41 or 40 and a 44. I might try to get that 44 mil off of her just to use it and see how I like it. We'll see, especially for fitness purposes, because closing them rings are definitely an addiction. But I would like to get a Series 8 or a Series 9, not the Ultra, just because now that I rock classic watches again, paying attention to millimeter size for wrist size, like the lug to lug wrist ratio. I'm definitely comfortable with that 44 mil size, even though you get so much more tech and battery life out of the Ultra. I want the more size that's appropriate for my wrist. So, but again, who knows? We'll see. If I get my hands on Ultra, I'm not gonna be mad. I will try to make it work. And worst case scenario, it will definitely be a fitness-based journey with that watch. But again, as always, if you guys haven't already, make sure you guys like button, subscribe to the channel, the notification bell, so that way you know my videos. So it's your bet see what's cracking. Let me know down in the comment section below what you guys think of the iPhone. What iPhones are you using? Are you still on Android? What Android phones are you using? Are you tempted to switch? Are you tempted to switch back to Android? Are you excited for the 15 series? Are you excited for USB-C coming to the iPhones? The comment section is open for discussion. Micah signing out until the next video. Wait for it.